Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to my channel. This is Coach DC from All 22 Films. Look, I'll be honest with you up front, the audio is probably going to sound a little bit unusual. I'm actually on vacation with my family and recording this while I'm outside, but I wanted to get this one completed and talk about Keith Abney. I've got, I think, 11 or 12 plays queued up here. Admittedly, some of these I'm actually going to be discussing and breaking down or analyzing Roger McCreary. Abney and McCreary had an interesting role, a dual role, if you will, in Thursday night's game against the Bengals. They kind of alternated at times between playing slot corner and outside corner on the field at the same time. This is the first rep that I've got to break down here for you. He's lined up against T. Higgins in the slot, so it's a bunch formation from a Bengals standpoint. And, T. Higgins 6'4" or 6'5", somewhere in that range. Keith Abney, obviously, quite small. That's one of the reasons why he went in the 5th round to Detroit. He's a fantastic football player, in my opinion. Really enjoyed the college film. This happens to be while Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins are still on the field. Of course, Eric O'Neill's big-time hit against Joe Burrow off a rush against Orlando Brown. From an Abney perspective, nothing really to break down here. Like I said, it's a 3rd and 4 on the first possession. Nowaski is a part of a read with Devin White. I talked about this in another video. They're banjo reading the running back, and since the running back is releasing here on a wheel, then Devin White's going to take him and try to match that wheel or, whatever the route is. And the other inside linebacker, Nowaski, is now free to be the low hole dropper and help out to the bunch side. And that's why once you see this magnification or spot shadow here, you can see Nowaski help out on Higgins. Higgins wasn't really interested, in my opinion, in this game and running full speed routes. Didn't look like he really wanted to be out on the field. All right, we're into the second quarter now. I will be talking about Abney as much as possible in this video and McCreary to the exclusion of pretty much anything else that occurs on screen or on the field. We're in the second quarter. Like I said, Flacco is on the field in place of Joe Burrow. It's a too-high safety structure. Again, I talked about this from a rake straw standpoint, what's happening up here. I'll link the rake straw video up, or the Lions cornerback video up, in the description so you guys can check it out. We're talking about Abney down here. The thing that I like about him is he seems prepared for the leverage/help that he has. Meaning, you got one safety dropping down here to the top side of the screen, the other safety in the middle of the field deep. So they're just rotating this guy up here. Some people refer to him as the rat, the low hole dropper. Whatever the case is, Abney is kind of feeding that route to the inside, if you will. Now, I will say this. He's a very intelligent, versatile football player. Abney, I think, has great zone instincts. I don't think he's a 100% of the time press man corner. I'm not saying that there's bad technique there. Just in my opinion, he doesn't look like a guy who should only be slotted to play press man. The comparisons to Amik Robertson, I get it. I understand. I'm not going to do them myself. I think this is a separate and individual football player, even though, from a size and strength standpoint, the similarities are obvious, number one. Number two, the positional versatility, the ability to vacillate between nickel DB in the slot or outside corner. That previous play, of course, was completed from Flacco against Rake Straw on a 3rd and 9, and they converted the ensuing 4th and 1 because that was an 8-yard gain. So we've moved forward a little bit here, still in the second quarter. Josh Johnson, the 3rd quarterback in the game for the Bengals, and once again, Abney is going to be the guy that we talk about, even though he's not targeted. Like I said, it's a 2nd and 8. They're playing 2-man against empty. So these are the two inside linebackers that are spot shadowed approximately 29 yards apart. That's a running back up at the top side of the screen. Inside linebacker is walked out over top of him. Too-high safety structure. That's how come, many of us refer to this as cover 2 man. It's a too-high safety structure, man underneath. Oftentimes you don't want to do this against athletic quarterbacks. Josh Johnson is 40 years old at this point. And not necessarily a threat to scramble, even though he's very versatile and seen it all. From an Abney standpoint, out here in the slot, what we've got is, I think, a little bit of an impatience as far as opening his hips here to his left, counterclockwise, if you will, and then the receiver stepping/swimming across the top of him. One of the few times where I've seen Abney not play the route in man to his help, whatever help there may be. Now, there is a safety to his side. The ball's already out. What I'm talking about or discussing is the possibility of this ball being thrown towards the sideline against a bigger receiver. Looks like the guy's about 6'3", maybe 6'4" to me, and against a smaller guy like Abney, even though he's tenacious and usually in really good coverage relationship, opportunity to throw balls to bigger receivers out towards the sideline on coverage snaps like this one. The very next snap here is a 3rd and 8 after that incompletion. Abney once again in the slot up top. Haven't talked about McCreary at all yet because, quite frankly, he's not in the game. We don't see him show up until the 3rd/4th quarter. Whiteside is up at the top side of the screen. This is a man-free coverage where both inside linebackers are blitzing. I think that Abney, there's different styles of press man and different body constructions or types that work. Abney's got really quick feet, in my opinion. I'm not sure how good they are in terms of being able to turn and go in some of these press man situations. Now, granted, this receiver is off the line, so you're not going to get as good of a jam as you will if the receiver is on. Talking about Whiteside being able to make contact with his hands. I feel like that Abney kind of reminds me a little bit of Arnold and Rakestraw in that he, in these press man situations, from a technical standpoint, because he's reaching out with his hands and his feet stop at the exact same time. It doesn't matter here. Whiteside is the target, kind of like a wheel route up at the top side of the screen, or just a fade, excuse me. But in any case, as far as Abney goes, I alluded to it on the previous breakdown or previous play that I talked about. I do not think his relative strength is press man, whether he's playing nickel or outside corner. And oh, by the way, later in this film study, you'll get an opportunity to see what I'm talking about, where they basically take Abney and McCreary and make them almost interchangeable from a positional standpoint. I'm certainly not saying that they can't play man with Keith Abney on the field, as I established at the beginning or the outset of the video. Really enjoyed his college tape and was surprised that he was still there in the 5th round. But very similar to the guy that the Ravens picked in the 5th round, Chandler Rivers from Duke. So Abney is down here as the nickel defender, and I call it shape shift to cover 3, whatever you want to describe it as. The timing is going to be a little bit more difficult for you guys to gather on your end on the movement, on the shift. So basically, inside linebacker right here, moving to the flats. Boundary side safety, dropping down, buzz/insert cover 3. Other safety rotating back to center field. Abney will sit in the curl flat and play cover 3, essentially. I really like his understanding and awareness of routes, number 1, and number 2, his technique. Here, he's jamming 2 briefly, and then his eyes are out on 1. So he can see 1, the outside receiver, number 1, down here. It's not jersey number 1, Jamar Chase. It's the receiver number 1. You start counting from the sideline in. So this is number 1, this is number 2. He's jamming 2 out, and his eyes are on 1. So he can see if 1 is breaking in or if 1 is running a stop route. So basically, if 1 stopped his route here, and 2, the guy that Keith Abney jammed, ran like a smash concept like that, a corner route, then Abney would jam 1 somewhere in this area, and then he would proceed, he would jam 2 somewhere in that area and proceed to 1, essentially a smash concept. Now, that's not what occurs here. I'm just talking to you about the way that Abney reads it, number 1. Number 2, where his eyes are looking while he's jamming, number 2, from an inside-out leverage standpoint. Really good, if you ask me, zone defender. Not saying that he can't play man at all, as I said at the beginning of this particular play, but I love his instincts in zone. I would be interested to see if the Lions are going to play any off-man/match coverages, because I felt like he did a really great job of that in college. All right, we're late into the 2nd quarter here. This is a 4th and 7. I think we're inside of a minute and a half left in the first half, maybe even less than that. But in any case, it's going to be quick pressure from Gil Howard, the defensive tackle that I have spot shadowed or magnified here. By the way, if you guys hear the sound of a bird, that actually is a bird who's in a tree near me. So as I said, I'm recording this outside. The best option that I had, like I said, we've been visiting family for a number of days, and this video I really would have liked to have got out on Sunday. It's been difficult to get things coordinated and or recorded. So this is a man-free coverage. Abney is in the slot up top into the boundary, and the nameplate or the name coverage there, my apologies for that. I'm not sure why the tracking didn't work better than that. It's auto tracking. The Once Sports Analyser is amazing and normally right on point as far as these things go. But there's Abney, and again, he's kind of feeding the receiver to the safety where his help is. I don't think that he's a bad man coverage guy at all, but when you're talking about projecting him forward, if he was to play a lot of snaps this year, in the 2026 regular season, I think there's some guys who would be able to win off the line if he's in that press coverage alignment. Look at these routes from a Bengals perspective. 4th and 7. That black line there is the line to gain. Again, we're late into the second quarter. Gil Howard is getting the pressure, as you can see on the left-hand side of our screen, the 9 o'clock position for you guys. And all of these routes are continuing 8, 10, 12, 14 yards past the black line. No one's looking for the football. It's a really weird situation. Two thoughts came to mind. I wondered if this was going to be a quarterback punt, where basically the quarterback throws the football deep and on a high arcing trajectory to try to get a defensive pass interference call, or maybe an interception, or if they were trying to clear out space in all these man defenders running vertically. Talking about all these man defenders, Abney there, inside linebacker, I think Hunter there, outside corner down at the bottom there, and then get the ball to the running back somewhere underneath and let him operate one-on-one. That's just, two of the guesses that I have about how this occurred. Two other times in the game, Bengals receivers didn't even run routes. Here are the running routes that are completely ignorant of the situation. Like I said, it's a 4th and 7. The Lions are playing man-free, cover one, whatever you want to call it, robber by this safety stepping down in the middle of the field. No route available for Josh Johnson at all. Maybe it wouldn't have mattered because you've got Gil Howard, like I said, getting one of his 2 or maybe 3 quarterback hits on the night. All right, Abney is admittedly not on the field here. We've switched into the third quarter. We're going to talk about McCreary a couple of times throughout the rest of this video. I think I've got 6 more plays. So this is an F counter play. McCreary is outside, lined up over Charlie Jones. Pretty talented receiver for the Bengals. He just can't get on the field there because of the obvious depth, number 1, number 2, and talent of the receivers they have on the field. McCreary is physical and strong. It almost looks like he's a little disrespected or feels disrespected by them stepping Jones to him. It doesn't matter here because you've got a really weird technique that works out from this edge defender. He'll kind of stem down and then exist outside or underneath of the blocking structure and then really disrupt things a whole lot, along with the inside linebacker 35 who's there, McCreary. They got this thing triangulated. It goes down as a loss of 1. I'm pointing this out for a couple of reasons. Number 1, to begin talking about McCreary. Number 2, the Bengals will run a play action off of that same look here in a moment, when McCreary and Abney will be on the field at the same time. So after that loss of 1, this is the same possession. Now they've gone with their nickel defensive look. I'm talking about the Lions. So Abney is up top in the slot. Keep that in mind as we track through here the last handful of plays, because these guys almost become a little bit interchangeable. McCreary's at outside corner. Abney is the nickel right now. Like I said, it's a 2nd and 11. Josh Johnson still in the game. He's going to target the backside here against McCreary. Really physical moment between McCreary and, once again, it's Charlie Jones, who's a pretty talented receiver, came out of Purdue, had a lot of production in college. McCreary, I think, is really smart. I think he's a little more comfortable, a little more fluid when playing what we would refer to as press man, but not relying on his hands as much. Demonstrating quick, solid feet, no matter what direction the wide receiver's route takes him. I wonder if Abney would play this as smooth and physical as McCreary does here. I like both of these guys, to be honest with you. I'm not going to do anything like a distinction between the two. I think they're both on this roster in 2026, and I think they both, at this point in time, because of, other situations, Rakestraw, I know he came back from the injury. Terrion Arnold is obviously long gone. I think there's opportunities for both of these guys to get on the field over the course of a 17-game season. Abney and McCreary both on the field. Like I said, I think this is the next play, or maybe 2 plays later. I might have the down and distance there incorrect, but they're going to shape shift or obfuscate the coverage once again. Show a 2 high safety structure initially off the left-hand side of our screen. Again, Abney's up top. McCreary is the outside corner to the right. And then Abney's going to drop to the flats, the boundary side safety, at the bottom side of our screen. He's going to drop down and buzz or insert onto the hash. And then the inside linebacker here is going to shift out to the flats once they read pass. It's 2nd and 11, so you can, almost assume that it will be. In addition, there's a lot going on here from a McCreary perspective and also what this safety is doing. I think there's a little bit of a poach mentality from this safety here as he drops down. I think that's Zayn, excuse me if I mispronounce his name. But it's press bail from a McCreary standpoint down here at the bottom of the screen. I think you've got real versatility, not just positionally from McCreary, but in terms of the techniques that he can play. Now, he does get lost a little bit here. We'll focus our attention or move our attention back up to Abney at the top of the screen. Really, this is cover 3 buzz, in my opinion, where you're getting the safety who's inserting or buzzing down to the hash is almost kind of poaching, looking for routes from the other side of the field where 3 receivers were at pre-snap. There's nothing for Josh Johnson here at the bottom of the screen. I think he was briefly, I don't want to say confused because the guy's super intelligent. He's been around, he's experienced, but decided not to attack the coverage down there and now looking for an opportunity to get the football out. It's Abney with a near interception up here, just doesn't give up on the play. I really like his feet and his eyes when he's in zone coverage. I'm not going to call him a zone corner. Guy's too young to be pigeonholed like that. If you were to talk about Abney 2, 3, 4 years from now, like Roger McCreary, he would probably show up with just as much technical versatility as McCreary showed in this game, even though he didn't get on the field, I think, until the third, fourth quarter. I think we're on the same possession here, but I could be wrong. And interestingly, Kelvin Shepherd has switched Abney and McCreary. McCreary is now the nickel DB. Abney is the outside corner into the boundary. In addition to that, because it's 11 personnel with the passing strength into the boundary, we're talking about these 2 receivers, whereas that's a tight end. What Detroit has done is they've set the nickel, McCreary, into the boundary, the short side of the field, where the 2 receivers are, and the inside linebacker, the will linebacker, has switched to the field where the tight end is. Just so you know, Cincinnati ran a jet sweep on the previous snap and got, I think, like 13 yards. Abney ended up making the tackle. Here is a jet sweep where the running back goes opposite. So it's really a pin-pull pitch concept. And they're blocking McCreary up here, pulling an offensive lineman out in front. They don't really execute it well from a Bengals standpoint. Abney unblocked, tracks all the way to the running back. No, he doesn't take the guy out and certainly kind of takes the brunt of the hit himself. It does, however, only go down as a 1-yard gain. The guy has recognition/awareness, in my opinion, at multiple positions, nickel/outside corner, the same as Roger McCreary. That's why I'm not here to say which guy's better, which guy should be on the field. I like both of them, to be honest with you. I liked McCreary's film from the time that he played with the Rams last year. Again, he played more outside corner with the Rams than you saw anything else. We've got an example of it here later in the third quarter. It's a 2nd and 5. This possession will end, I think, 1 snap later or 1 snap after this with Hassanein's strip sack of Josh Johnson. It's going to be a back shoulder fade here down into the red zone. Abney's on the field as well, but there's nothing really happening as far as he goes on this particular snap. Just, again, continuing to show you their willingness, Kelvin Shepherd's willingness to play one of these guys at nickel, one of them at outside corner, and then switch them on the very next snap. Big receiver trying to play above the rim. I think that's Jones. I think his last name's Jones as well, but I could be wrong about that, number 17. But Josh Johnson is going there. Look at the positioning that McCreary has. Inside position, he's not going to win the jump ball, but he's trying to break this guy's posture / force him closer to the sideline, number 1, make it more difficult for him to get his hands free to try to catch this football. I think McCreary plays this well. Now, are there other 6'3", 6'4" receivers in the league that will go up and get this ball? Sure. The idea is that McCreary is trying to make the margin for error a whole lot smaller for this receiver here, and I think he's done so. Veteran guy, can play everywhere. I understand the immediate reactions to seeing McCreary not on the field at all until the second half where, hey, maybe we're going to cut this guy. I just don't see it that way. I don't see it that way from the Rams film last year, and I don't see it that way from the way that he performed on Thursday night in Cincinnati. One more snap here to talk about. It's a coverage reaction from Abney up at the top side of our screen. The Lions are in what I would consider to be a base defensive structure, but it's a 4-3 look. So these 2 are definitely dedicated inside linebackers. I believe that's 57, who we saw as an edge defender earlier, so you could consider him a Sam linebacker who can play inside linebacker and or walk up and play edge outside to the tight end side. In this case, the ball is in the middle of the field, and now we've got Abney and McCreary at outside corner. Again, I think pointing out or illustrating the positional versatility is key to whether these guys will make the roster. Obviously, I think both of them will, but definitely Abney. It's an F counter play, but it's play action. So the tight end is going to run an under route, and Josh Johnson a little bit of a play action fake, and then he'll boot back to the boundary side. There is no edge defender whatsoever to deal with him. I'm not sure who that is. I want to say 92, but no reaction at all because, again, that F counter play was run earlier on. I'm talking about the one where McCreary out-muscled Charlie Jones and then tried to get involved with the play. So here's Abney jamming number one, and then the big hit on the tight end. I think this is a very talented, tenacious, aggressive football player. I'm okay with people comparing him to Amik Robertson. I really liked Amik's game when he came from Detroit. I thought he had some good stuff. When he came from the Raiders, when he showed up in Detroit as a free agent signing, I did not think, however, 2025 was high-quality coverage examples from an Amik Robertson standpoint. I felt like there were blown coverages. Certainly the one against the Bengals last year on the same field, the touchdown to Jamar Chase on a 3rd and long, was really undisciplined, if you ask me. This is a guy who's got really sound reactions no matter where you put him, number one. Number two, tackles really well, as illustrated by this play here. I think covers well enough in man that you can put him out there. I would suggest, and I think I established this earlier, there's going to be certain receivers in the slot in the NFL that if he's exposed to right now with his hands and or slash feet not always being aligned or synced up, that I think he's going to have problems. I think that's the difference that I'm willing to make between him and McCreary right now from a technical standpoint, is that press man look or press-ish man when you're at or on the line of scrimmage. All right, so I'll give you some summary thoughts here at the end. If you stuck around this long and the audio is poor, my apologies for that. That will not be a consistent issue. Again, we've been traveling and visiting family before the school year / football season starts. So I did the best I could do here trying to record this outside, and hopefully it was fun for you guys to sit and watch. And I would consider it a day late from my own perspective. I wanted to get it out on Sunday. As far as Keith Abney goes, played really well against the Bengals, in my opinion. Got beat on 1 3rd down, playing man coverage in the slot. For whatever reason, I did not include that play in this film breakdown. Very versatile, smart, intelligent. I think plays above his size, and I think also plays above his, perhaps we'll say, above his rank from a rookie standpoint. You can put him anywhere, and he's got sound reactions, in my opinion. A little bit impatient in press man coverage. I do wonder about how they're teaching it in Detroit, to be honest with you, because so many guys, Arnold, Rakestraw, Abney, who granted is a rookie, have demonstrated a little bit of impatience with their hands, and then their feet stop at the same time that their hands reach out to grab. And then you compare that with Roger McCreary. I only showed you 2 reps here, but I think he looks more sound, more technical, definitely more confident in his feet, in the ability of his feet to keep up with the receiver and not overly reliant on his hands. And the point I'll make there is that McCreary is a veteran who didn't get signed in Detroit until this offseason. So I'm not being derogatory towards the coaches in Detroit. Maybe they've got a different secondary coach. Maybe they've had a different one every year the past 2 or 3 years. I don't know that. I'm just saying that there is a pattern of young corners here, Abney, Arnold, and even Rakestraw, who kind of panic when they're up there in press man. Nonetheless, I think really highly of Abney. Him and Chandler Rivers as 5th-round picks, undersized guys who can line up at nickel and outside corner where the college film was great. I'm rooting for both of them to the same degree, with the same amount of intensity. Abney apparently has taken some first-string reps after Thursday night's game. I think it was Saturday's practice, something like that. At this point, the days are kind of running together because we've been shuttling between houses, visiting multiple family members. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comment section, number 1. You may have different views on Abney and or McCreary than I do. I'm a big fan of both. In fact, I think they're both on the team, as I said earlier, once or twice before, and I think that they both have the opportunity to get on the field during the regular season in 2026. It'll be interesting to me to see if they both play a lot in the second preseason game. Selfishly, I hope they do, because I'd like to see them execute. In the case of Abney, I'd like to see him build confidence, number 1. Number 2, perhaps, it's difficult to do in the span of 1 week, but perhaps become a little bit more patient / technical in press man iterations, where I think he displayed a little bit of a relative weakness even in the game against Cincinnati on Thursday night, where I think he played quite well. If you guys enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comment section. Please like the video again if you sat this long and listened to it. Sometimes I put out videos like 5,000 - 6,000 views and only 200 likes. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe it's fans of opposing teams that watch it. and choose not to like. But in any case, if you guys think other Detroit Lions fans would appreciate this film study look at Keith Abney and Roger McCreary, even though at times I was somewhat critical of the press man technique that Abney utilizes, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach. Appreciate you guys' time.